here's Jordan. Jordan is the venture lead at AADAO. And well, I'm Facu again. I'm a Cosmos SDK engineer, and also I'm the tech reviewer at AADAO. So, all to you.
All right. Well, Facu, thank you for kicking it off. So this is just sort of an impromptu workshop that we're hosting here. I feel like we're on a podcast, right? So if anyone has any blockers too, we'll be able to maybe potentially answer questions that anyone has, maybe help some of your issues that you may be facing towards the end. But yeah, we'll kick it off. So Facu, in Cosmos, it's known as the pioneer of innovative tech in Web3, the birthplace of proof of stake, interchain security, and a lot of innovation. We have the Interchain tech stack. Could you break down what is the Interchain tech stack from a basic level, and then maybe break down into like a little bit of each?
Okay, so the Interchain stack basically has all you need to run a blockchain, and it comes like we're gonna go in layers, let's say. It has CometBFT as its consensus engine. Then you have the Cosmos SDK, of course, to do the application layer. You have CosmWasm, so you have your smart contracts platform. And then you have IBC. So in IBC, it's like the cherry on top, because with IBC, you can basically connect to any other chain that it's also IBC enabled, of course. Well, CometBFT, as I said, is the consensus engine. It's gonna take care of all the peer-to-peer, the broadcasting of transactions. It's gonna make sure that you have consensus, that the chain is on agreement, and it's gonna be the one that it's gonna like keep the beat going and making sure you're producing blocks. Then Cosmos SDK is the part of the stack that allows you to basically build your application on top. And yeah, well, we talked about that yesterday. And then CosmWasm is this super cool contract platform in which you can write your contracts in Rust, and I think other languages too. So you can build so maybe you don't need like a full chain, but you can write a contract and run it on Neutron, for example, and then you have your own application. And well, and finally, IBC is this. It's basically it's almost magical, but it's actually all cryptographical proofs and messages going around the network, and this allows you to move not only tokens but also information across chains. And why would you need information if it's all tokens? Well, no, there are many things that are information. For example, prices. You can query the price of an asset in Osmosis. You can query, I don't know, stuff about the state of another chain, which opens up the floor to many other applications that you want to build that maybe make use of other chains. So yeah, that's for you, the Interchain stack.
Awesome, thank you, Facu. At Accelerator DAO, we use this tool called DAO, and within that, there's typically interchain accounts, interchain queries, ICA, ICQ for short. Would you like to, you touched on it a little bit on interchain queries. Would you like to also go into ICA and ICQ?
Sure. First, let's give a good shout out to DAO, because DAO, it's like this super cool tool. Basically, it's a set of smart contracts plus a good UI to manage DAOs or multisigs, if you want to call them that. And they make heavy use of interchain queries and interchain accounts. So with interchain queries, like I said before, you can get information from other chains, like the balance of an account, for example. And you're like, okay, but maybe I can use like just the API to do that. Well, but if you need that data inside your state machine and you're actually using it, during the like I don't know, to run a transaction, you want to make that provable. You want to make that on chain all the time. And interchain accounts, yeah, to me, I think that's like the most. I mean, it sounds simple when you say it out loud, but to me, it's like super badass to be able to you have a contract in Neutron, and then you can control accounts on like 10 different chains and hold tokens there, and you only have to worry about the initial account. In these other accounts, they don't have a private key, they don't have a public key. They know they are controlled by you in this other chain. So, yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome, Facu. So this is more of a for fun question, but we have all the hackathon participants here. They're all working on different things. If there's one thing that you would like to see built for the Cosmos ecosystem, whether it's on Neutron, utilizes Atom, what's one thing that you would like to see built that maybe the ecosystem's missing at the moment?
Well, I think if I had a good answer to that, I would be rich already. But I think I would like to see more stuff built with interchain accounts. For example, I think there are many things that can come up from that, because you could, I don't know, you could do stuff like, okay, I can swap on a chain and then let it, like, tell it to send those tokens to another chain, and then do, I don't know, add those funds to a liquidity pool and then send those back to another chain that I have. And you can do all of that from a single place. And why this is important is because what's the alternative? The alternative is that you handle all of these accounts separately, which means that you will need to sign transactions on each one of these. But given that you can control all of that from a single place, then that means that contract is gonna handle all the flow for you, and you don't have to worry about it, like have to go to each place and sign stuff. So that would be pretty cool from a tech perspective, in my opinion, and also pretty cool from a UX perspective, because imagine only having to sign once and do like 10 things. Like behind the scenes, and you just get to know the final result. I mean, yeah, that's the nerd definition of cool, maybe.
That's a pretty good definition of cool, I'd say. Okay. So, Facu, we're now seeing more and more ETH-L2s, more and more L1s, app chains. However, sometimes there's some friction in terms of being able to deploy your own app chain. And one, there's two things that comes from that, is the interoperability and fragmentation issue only gets worse. Arguably, one could say IBC solves that within Cosmos, right? But for the other issue of chain launching, what's the best way to launch your chain in Cosmos?
Yeah, I would probably rephrase that to what's the best way to launch your app, because I think that's the most important from a business perspective, that your app, what users use and all of that, that's what you should be asking yourself on how to launch. And then if it has to be a chain, okay, it can be a chain. But if not, then you can probably use Cosmos Hub as a provider, and then you should launch your app chain as a consumer. And it's going to be a chain still, but the big difference there is that you're not going to have to worry about a bunch of things. Or you don't have to worry about security, which is the biggest thing, which happens with some projects that get a lot of tokens in a lot of value locked into their protocols, but then the amount of money that is let's say that it's securing those that locked value, it's actually less, which introduces the possibility of an attack, because if you can, this is all theory, right? In theory, because I think it never happened actually, but in theory, if your token value that you use for staking that is securing your chain drops too much, then an actor can come in, buy a lot of tokens, and do whatever he wants with all the locked tokens in the chain. So yeah, if you want to avoid all of that stuff, just launch a consumer chain and forget about the rest of the things. And well, and also a consumer chain, I'm just like thinking out loud right now. A consumer chain still gives you the flexibility that, so you're in control on how blocks are built, you're in control on how transactions are going to be processed. Your transactions are going to be only your transactions are the only ones that you're going to be seeing in your app. It's not like you're going to be seeing transactions from other chains. Yeah.
You talk about consumer chains, so I think for a lot of people, they're new to this. So can you explain what's the difference between ICS and restaking?
Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna leave the restaking to you. I'm gonna stick to what I know best, which is the technical stuff. So in ICS, it's basically that you're borrowing security from another chain. And for that chain that you're borrowing security from must be like very well secured. That means that the amount of tokens being staked there are actually valuable, and there's interest in keeping that chain secure. So then you can just run your consumer chain that is borrowing security, and yeah, that's it. You don't have to worry about the staking and all of that. And what about restaking?
So restaking is a big term that got really popular within sort of the EVM, and now we're actually seeing it in the Solana SVM communities. But we're seeing some weird noises. But restaking, I mean, ICS basically is the concept of restaking for CosmWasm validators and Atom. It's just a different type of terminology that's popularly used elsewhere. But essentially, it's the concept of being able to rent out or rent security from a provider. And so in the case of ICS consumer chains, so some of the biggest ones that we see today, like Neutron, for example, and Stride, those are some of the ones that are active at the moment. They're renting security from the hub. They're using the CosmWasm validator set, essentially. What does that mean? Usually this means that their budget for security, they don't have to pay as much, and they inherit the security of a much larger market cap of a token. In this case, that would be like Atom, and also the strength and security of the CosmWasm validator set. So the CosmWasm validator set, I mean, Facundo, you might be able to talk a little bit more on that, but it's shown resilience over the years, and it's quite sufficiently decentralized, as many would say. But yeah, I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that. In terms of ICS?
No, but you were talking about renting out, which means there's money involved. So that means the chain would get money, and that would mean the stakers would get money. So let me ask you, if I have heavy bags on Atom, this is all hypothetical. If I have heavy bags on Atom and I'm staking all of that, and I want to add value to that, maybe by building something, how would you say would be the best way to bring value to Atom and indirectly bring value to my bags?
That's an interesting question. So if, in theory, as new chains are launching and they're utilizing the CosmWasm validator set as in their ICS consumer chains, right, or ICS chains, stakers or Atom stakers could expect to see maybe potentially, it depends on the model that's being worked out between these consumer chains and the CosmWasm validators and the teams involved, but you could expect to see sometimes, I think with Stride, we see like airdrops, so to speak, right? And then there's some, I think it's revenue distribution. So there's different models being played around with. But yeah, I mean, the theory is as new consumer chains are coming to launch, they're probably going to airdrop and provide some of this revenue and share that with Atom stakers, Atom validators, and so on. So yeah, it's sort of a meme, over the few years, like people will buy and stake Atom because of the airdrops, and I do still think that holds true as more consumer chains will be launching using the CosmWasm validator set.
Okay, so get ready to launch more and more consumer chains, please.
Yeah, and that being said, like, it doesn't mean that every single application should be an app chain right away. That does play into the app chain thesis, and there's benefits to that. But like, for example, launching a smart contract protocol on Neutron is still pretty useful because of the use of interchain queries, ICQ, and interchain accounts, ICA. You can do a lot of really cool things by building your protocol natively on Neutron. And in a way, Neutron is getting their security, inheriting it from CosmWasm validator set. And so by building on Neutron, it's sort of the smart contract layer for CosmWasm and Atom and Neutron. So there's definitely use into that. I personally think like there's only certain use cases for app chains. We don't need to go too much into it, but I think like usually those would be like if you have high demand for block space and you anticipate a large user base, so you want to have your own sovereign block space, right? Or maybe you have regulatory requirements and you're working with institutions and they have certain requirements about either the validator set or certain parameters about how you're architecting your chain. So these are also use cases for potential app chains for those that are being spun up today. But ideally, like Neutron is also a great place to launch your application as a smart contract protocol. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Facundo? Yeah. All right. But yeah, I guess to start closing it up, so Facundo, what can hackathon participants expect post-hackathon? Where can participants receive additional support after the hackathon is over if they so choose to continue with their build or if they want to iterate upon it as they continue?
Yeah, so I hope that everyone is getting into the Cosmos community rabbit hole, because we have a very big community. Like we have communities like everywhere. There's like a Cosmos network Discord in which it's full of people like from all chains. You have users, you have developers, you have all sorts of profiles there. So I think if you didn't know the Cosmos before this, now that you know it, I think it's going to be cool that you start getting involved with the community, because the community from the Cosmos Hub, and all the chains around the Cosmos are one of the most active communities out there, not only technically, but in all sorts of aspects. So I think that would be a great way to get support, because in my experience, it's crazy the kind of people that you can find out there, because you're like asking a silly question, and then some random person that happens to be like this super developer from some chain comes to you and like explains in detail what you need to do to fix your issue. And yeah, I think that's, I don't know, it's like, you feel a bit loved, let's say, by the community when stuff like that happens. And let me ask you, because let's say after the hackathon, I want to keep building this, but I need funds, and I know people usually tell you go to friends and family first, but my friends and family yeah, they don't have funds. Yeah, they're friends and family from a poorer country, let's say, and I need to find funding. Are there places I can go to, like, and pitch my project and maybe get some funding?
Yeah, so there are additional sources of funding. Actually, one of the sponsors here, Neutron. So there's a Neutron grants program. So especially if you're building a smart contract protocol on Neutron, you can apply to their program. It's just NGP, Neutron Grants Program. They also do have, we did a partnership, Atom Accelerator partnered up with DoraHacks. And so we have a quadratic funding platform where you can post up the details on your project or what you're building, what you're up to, and actually the community can go ahead and donate to your project based upon what you're building, and I believe there's a matching pool that goes along with that. So yeah, these are potential avenues, and not only do you get the funding support, but you actually also get the additional exposure. So by posting your project up on, like, say, DoraHacks, for example, on the quadratic funding platform, or even the Neutron Grants Program, you know, you're going to get that positive PR, that exposure. Others will find out about your project, and you're also going to get in touch with some of the folks in the ecosystem. So it's more than just funding, but you're also going to get hands-on support and guidance as well. And there also may be potentially additional grant programs that will be spinning up. We'll have to see what that looks like in the next year that comes up. But yeah, I don't know if you wanted to add in more, but we can open up the floor for questions. Yeah.
I also want to add more. We will give you also informational support. So we will write about your project on the Cosmos ecosystem Twitter. We will spread information about your project. We will organize 7 events, meets with the community where you can explain, show how to use and find initial user database, people who will support you, people who will vote on you on the DoraHacks. So we will keep supporting you, not only with funds, but also with spreading of information.
Thank you, Vladdy. For those who don't know, Vladdy's in the community as a post-human validator. And that's the other thing. You're also going to get support from the community and all the builders that want to see you succeed. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much, is that it, Facu? Should we just open up the floor to other questions if anyone has any? Or
maybe about the Cosmos Hub bounty. I don't know if everyone was here for the announcement, but there's a $10,000 bounty on that we added that wasn't there before yesterday. So your project has to use Atom. They have to bring value to Atom some way, and then you're gonna get you can participate for the bounty, which is gonna split up to we're gonna split up in up to 3 teams. So there's a big chance that you can win it. So yeah. So let's get building.
Yes.
Keep building, actually.
I was gonna direct Adrian to the AEZ.
Even more, we even thinking that the first 3 teams will get the biggest part, but all small teams or all other projects also will get some small prizes. So looks like everybody will get prize, but some people will get a big prize, and some people small prize, but everybody will get small prize.
So be sure to try to get the big prize, as Vladdy has said. Thank you, Vladdy. And thank you, Facundo.
Thank you.
Again, if anyone has any questions, feel free to come up, or even come up to us if you don't want to have it on stage. But we're here as a resource. We want to see you guys succeed and build the next awesome applications in Cosmos. Neutron, use Atom, that kind of thing. Cool stuff.
Well, awesome. Let's keep hacking then, and we'll be around. And thank you.